Hello YouTube. I'm reading an article and there's so many runners out there in our community. I wanted to share this article with you. So I'm going to read it. It's a few words of advice. Running can change your life, but not always the way you think. My wife said to me the other day, "Okay, I've been watching you go out for runs for years now, and I think it's time to start doing it myself. Do you have any good tips for me?" Finally, my sterling example had its intended effect. I repressed an urge to gloat and just smiled and said, "It's simple. Just strap on some shoes and go out the door." I then returned quietly to charging my GPS watch. Then I turned back to her and said, "Okay, actually, it's a little more complicated than that. You're at home with our daughters, which means that you spend most of your day reacting to everything they need. If you wait until taking care of everybody else before you tend to yourself, you'll never get around to it. So you'll have to make yourself a priority. Get up and run first before somebody comes up with something they think is more important for you to do." She nodded, looking doubtful, but I went on. "I was just like you. I hated getting up in the mornings, but then I realized there was really no other place to carve out the time. So I forced myself to run early, and now, as you know, I'm out every day by 6 a.m. and collapse in bed by 10. So, to really succeed, you'll have to become a morning person." She was looking even more doubtful and may have been opening her mouth to object, but I had thought of something else. "Then there's food," I mused. "You're one of those lucky people who never had to think about what you were eating. But once you start running, that will have to change. You'll be hungrier because you'll need calories, but they should be good ones, and you'll have to start thinking seriously about things like fiber and complex carbs, as well as fats and protein. Oh, one more thing," I said. "Goals are important in running, and I don't mean losing weight. You're not a competitive person, and neither was I, but it's good to become one, at least enough to enter a race or work to do well. You're not just starting to exercise, you're becoming an athlete, and athletes compete if only against themselves." "But you know what's really important?" I exclaimed, fully warming to the topic now. "You should find some other people to do it with. I used to think of running as a solitary activity when I got away from everything and everybody, but I didn't start succeeding at running until I joined a group. We motivate each other and get each other out on cold mornings when we'd rather stay in bed. For the first time in my life, I had to become a joiner to be responsible and attentive to a group." "Now that I think about it," I said, "becoming a runner requires you to change just about everything about your life." My wife didn't hear that, of course. Long before, she had just strapped on her shoes and gone out the door.